Good evening. I'm Kathy Pape, and this is the City Cemetery on Liberty Street. Back in 1804, Mary Montgomery was the first to be laid to rest here. But is laid to rest the right choice of words for this evening? I don't know. We asked our Conneaut Public Library patrons to give us their ghost stories, stories that happen in homes right here in Conneaut, Ohio. And we've taken those stories and we put them in one frightening little bundle that we like to call Terrifying Tales from Conneaut After Dark 2010. So, lock your doors, turn off those lights, and maybe light a few candles. And be prepared to be scared.
I wish I could blot the memory of that fateful night from my mind. For a few moments each day, I suffer still. The schooner, Alicia Whittlesley, was struck by a violent squall on October 9, 1832, and sank in 60 feet of water off Salem, Ohio. Captain William Hickox and 3 of his crewmen jumped overboard as the schooner capsized. We were tossed about inside as it righted itself again. I heard shouts of help as 6 vessels passed by without sighting the shipwreck. The ship Huron finally rescued them. My son and I were not as fortunate. The schooner was raised, and within a mile of shore, it sank again. When it was raised the second time, 2 bodies floated from the cabin. Those 2 bodies were, as you see now, that of myself holding my son Samuel close as I do tonight and for always.
Loud racket filtered down from upstairs. A grandmother yells to her grandson, "What are you doing up there? What is that noise?" The grandson replies,
"Why won't leave me alone?"
Grandma experiences an unsettling feeling as she remembers that a boy named Wayne committed suicide upstairs in that very room.
Is that a baby I hear crying? A pregnant woman is alone at home when the silence is broken with cries of an infant. The cries seem to be coming from upstairs on the 2nd floor in the new nursery. As the woman ascends the stairs, she catches the faint scent of violets. She enters the nursery, sits down in a rocking chair, and begins to softly sing a lullaby. The crying ceases. Several times during her pregnancy, she has to calm the phantom child with her singing. After her own baby girl is born and placed in the crib, an aura appears over the child. In an unfortunate event, her husband dies on Lake Erie, and the cries of the ghost child cease, as well as the frequently appearing aura over the crib. Hush, little baby, don't say a word.
The same woman's grandchildren, ages 2, 4, and 8, were playing outside. When the woman goes outside to ask the girls what they are doing, one of her grandchildren says, "We are playing and talking with Jenny." There are no other children there. Upon investigation, the woman discovers that 3 little girls who lived in the area in the 1900s died of influenza, and one of them was named Jenny.
Every morning, her husband would join her for a cup of coffee at the kitchen table. Now, as he was sitting there enjoying his coffee, he'd cross his legs and gently tap his foot against the table. Now, since his death, she still can feel the tap, of his foot against the table as she enjoys her morning coffee.
Gather to me, you warm bodies. I was an artist. I created pain and suffering on human canvases. 'Tis their blood that stains this portrait. But their cries for vengeance from the grave pulled me into this frame, doomed to rot, but never perish. Cursed to see out, but never be free. Unless one of you will trade places with me. Who will it be?
She loved roses, her mother did. She was dead long before the woman moved into the downstairs apartment. It was the middle of winter, and as the woman made her way through the apartment, the scent of roses permeated the air. It was one of many times since her mother's death that the woman smelled roses in her apartment. Perhaps she doesn't want to be forgotten.
A Kania family lives with a ghost they believe to be named Molly. Molly likes to play, and she will leave her toys where she thinks someone will find them and play with her. One day, the grandmother came to visit the family, and the family tried to explain to the grandmother about Molly and about her leaving her toys. And the grandmother would not believe such nonsense. And at that point in time, they heard a noise. The family looked and saw a toy horse laying on the staircase. And the father said, "See, grandmother, look. She's trying to get you to play with her. She left that toy horse." The grandmother still didn't believe them. She angrily picked up the horse and put it back into the toy box. She said, "I don't believe such nonsense." And they all turned to walk out of the room. But they heard a strange sound. They looked back at the stairs, and the hair on the back of their neck stood on end, because right back where it was before was the toy horse.
A woman is taking a shower. No one else is in the house. She glances through the glass doors and sees the towel on the outside rack move. Later, her 15-year-old daughter is in her bedroom and the radio suddenly comes on. She tells her mother on several occasions that she sees a woman in a white dress. Repeatedly, the girl tells the ghostly woman not to turn her radio on, but the radio continues to come on all by itself. She doesn't believe her daughter until one day she's alone in the house and the radio in her daughter's room blasts on. Now she believes.
Well, here we are at the Liberty Inn. We, my friend Steph and Cindy, we stayed the night here. We asked the owners of the Liberty Inn if we could do a ghost hunt for the library. Now, we've never done this before, so so we just thought, we wanted to make this really cool show for you tonight, and we thought, well, we should check out the Liberty Inn because it is rumored to be haunted. We talked to several people. We did hear the stories about there's actually a ghost of a man and the ghost of a little girl that is seen in an upstairs bedroom. So the owners of the Liberty Inn graciously offered to let us stay here for free, and we did stay in that bedroom, and we did have an encounter. And that's what we want to share with you this evening. It's kind of nerve-wracking to be back here, actually, and, the chills are starting to go up my spine again, But before I tell you the really spooky story, I do want to say that this is a beautiful bed and breakfast right here in downtown Conneaut, and please, I urge you, if you have friends, relatives, family members, what have you, that come into town, consider it. It is beautiful. It is just a wonderful, redone, lovely house filled with antiques and new things. So believe me, it's accommodated. So don't let that scare you, but other things will. So we got here and we brought along our ghost hunting equipment, which was each other. And we obviously our camera, and we had a digital recorder too. So we were investigating downstairs a little bit, getting the lay of the land, and I was the first one that came upstairs. The bedroom that we stayed at, it's actually at the top of this beautiful staircase. And so you guys were still downstairs, getting equipment together and all of that. So I went upstairs, and I got to the top of the stairs. And even when I'm telling the story right now, it's chills are going through my spine. I was stopped in my tracks. There was just this cold wall, this cold breeze just came right through my body. And the hair on the back of my neck just stood up, and I had goosebumps all over my arms. And I kind of froze, and I turned to the left where the bedroom door was, and there was a light on the side of the door, or on the wall. It flickered on and off, and I hollered for you guys. I'm like, "Oh, there's a cold chair! The light just went on and off!" It was frightening. And so then you guys came racing up the stairs. Cindy, do you remember what happened next?
Well, when we heard her do her little bit of a scream, we were like, "Oh my gosh!" So we had to go see right away. I think I even stopped filming for a second there and that was a dumb thing to do, because it's like, if she's seeing something, why wouldn't I be filming it going up the steps? But I turned off the camera, and we went upstairs to see what was going on, and she explained to us what had happened, and I got chills. Steph got chills. We're all like, "Oh my gosh!" right away, because we kind of thought maybe we wouldn't hear anything. And this was kind of early on when we were here. So we were kind of excited but scared, So we took our tripod upstairs, and I set it up in the hallway there, where they did explain that sometimes people have seen things in a little bit of a hallway there. And I might add, it was a little scary, because you could go up the stairs on one side and look down the stairs on another side. It had like 2 stairways that met at the top of the steps. And so we filmed a little bit. Set the camera up inside by the bedroom and the stairway. Put the digital recorder right there on the sort of like a newel post. And I think after a little bit of time, we were sitting there, do a little bit of talking, and we heard a beep type of sound. Right now? All right, wait. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me turn over to Steph and say, okay.
Yeah, you're skipping ahead.
Rewind. So we were talking about the fact that there was a creepy guy that people had seen and this little girl in a white dress. And I said, okay, whoever's here, I prefer if the little girl comes out, because I don't want to see a creepy guy ghost hanging around here. And at that point, I said, are you here? If you're here, give us a sign. Are you the one who flicked the lights on and off when Kathy first came up the steps? If you're here, give us a sign. Are you here? And all of a sudden, there was a beep, beep. And all 3 of us said, did you hear that? Did you hear that? What was that? What was that? And I said, and then it was silent. And I said, if that was you, give us another sign. And all of a sudden, beep, beep, beep. And we were like, it was like, oh my gosh. And I said, wait a minute, do you suppose that has something to do with the camera? So we went out, and they found out that the battery pack had gone dead. And first of all, we're just thinking, oh, the battery pack's gone dead. And Cindy said, well, let's go down and get the extension cord, and we'll plug in. And then I looked at the digital recorder, and it had a time on it, and this was about 19 minutes into recording. And I said, wait a minute, you guys. Wasn't that a fully charged battery pack? And they said, yeah. And I said, so how long does the battery pack last? They're like, I don't know. Don't really know, you know. This equipment's new to us. And we said, well, let's go down and get the electrical cord. And Cindy said, well, I'm not going alone. And I said, well, I'm not going just, okay, all three of us will go down. So we all go down and we get the thing and we plug it back in. And we go back into the room, and
This time we plug it in.
yeah, we plugged it in, and it was pretty uneventful for the rest of the evening, I think. And we played cards, and then when we came back to the library, and we viewed the footage, we had still photographs, we had video, and we listened to the audio. There wasn't a whole lot there. But then I kept asking and pursuing about this battery pack. I said, come on, you guys. The battery pack, 19 minutes. This just doesn't make any sense. So I took out the manual and I went through it with a fine-tooth comb. And I found out that for our particular type of battery pack, which is a BP2L14, a typical recording time is 80 minutes. And that is typical. Maximum would be 140.
Right.
We have 35 minutes of recording time on that battery pack. And it's just so odd that that battery pack should have lasted at the least, what was it, 85 minutes? We only got 35 minutes out of it. And the coincidence, when I'm saying, if you're here, give us a sign. Beep, beep, beep. And also, the tape ran out at the same time that the battery pack went dead. They both went dead at the same time. Yes. And we started talking about...
Well, the first thing I said when that happened, I went, oh my gosh, you guys, you know, from the light flickering to our equipment malfunctioning, I know that... I mean, I don't know a lot about spirits, I'll be honest with you. I watch my fair share of ghost hunters. But one thing that I do know for sure is that they interfere with electromagnetic fields around us. And that, you know, when you have equipment plugged in, lights plugged into the wall, your camera, you know, these types of things, it sucks the energy out of them. And so, I mean, I'm sorry. I think it's too much of a coincidence for Stephanie to be asking at that particular time. That's when the beep happens, and it happened twice. It wasn't just like one time. We talked and talked and talked, and then we tried to engage the spirits again, and she asked again, and at that particular moment, that's when it beeped again. And then when we all went out there, we see that both of those things simultaneously are done. I mean, it's just, I think it's incredible. I really, really do, and it's our glimpse to the other world, our touch to them, and I think it's incredible.
And I was the fact person here. I needed some facts. I'm open to all this, but if we're doing this and we're documenting it, I need the facts. So again, I took out the manual and I went through it with a fine-tooth comb to see if when the battery pack was dying or had gone dead, if there would be a beeping noise. It didn't say that, but it did say, the beep also serves as a warning beep under unusual conditions.
Yeah.
I think we had some unusual conditions.
I think so. We had a great time and a very unusual experience. So
One we can tell our grandkids about.
One we will tell our grandkids about. One we'll tell everybody in Conneaut about, apparently.
It wouldn't stop me from sleeping here again.
It wouldn't stop me from sleeping here again. And I had a great time with you ladies with our slumber party, too. It was fun. But please, stop by the Liberty Inn, ghosts or not.
Have you ever wondered what's on the other side of that closet door in the dead of night? Right here in Conneaut, a little girl called for her father at bedtime, crying. Something was trying to get out of her closet. The little girl was sent to sleep with her mother, while the father stayed in the girl's room and played Christian music for the duration of the night. The father shared this story with his landlord, and the landlord turned ghostly white and began to shake. He said the same thing had happened to his daughter several times and thought that she was just trying to get out of going to bed. He would spank her and force her to go back to bed with that thing hiding in the closet. What? Hello?
Are all ghosts ominous? Or some here to protect us? You be the judge. He was just her boyfriend. They would often fight. Sometimes the confrontations would get heated, and at those times she would catch a glimpse of a ghostly figure of a big man dressed in a plaid shirt. His vision always seemed to calm her. She felt as though he were watching over her, as though he were protecting her.
Hey, hey, have you ever been wakened from a dead sleep and not know why? Thinking possibly that you heard something or someone calling? Hey, hey, there it goes again. You fall back to sleep only to hear it again. Hey, hey, you dismiss it. You go back to sleep. It's nothing. When you wake in the morning, you discover your stove was left on all night. Maybe you'll listen next time.
Now, as the story goes, there was a man who lived in Conneaut who decided he didn't like the hustle and bustle of city life, so he moved out here to Tinker's Hollow with his faithful companion, his donkey. Now, he liked to forage in the night, wandering the hollow after midnight. Don't know what he was foraging for. But one night, a dark and fearsome storm came up, and he took shelter under a tree, which we all know is very dangerous. And for him, it was dangerous. He was struck by lightning. Now, he did survive the lightning strike, but it left him with a debilitating injury. He was forced to drag his leg behind him, causing a frightful noise. And they say that today, if you come here after midnight, you can still hear him and his donkey walking across the bridge, him dragging his leg and his donkey walking behind him. If you listen real hard, maybe we'll hear him.
Okay, we're down here at Tinker's Hollow doing our wrap up of the show. I really hope you enjoyed it and had a spooky good time. I know that we did, and we're kind of getting a little creeped out down here, and we're going to try to wrap it up and get the heck out of here. I don't know. This is pretty spooky down at Tinker's Hollow, and I don't know if I'll be coming back down here again after midnight, but I would like to thank a few people that helped make our first Halloween special possible. I would like to thank the Tagle family and the Scalos family for letting us into their haunted, spooky yards. I'd also like to thank Fruin Jackson for providing some props to us, and also the Schumacher family, and also the Liberty Inn. How could I forget the Liberty Inn? They've been gracious hosts to us, and I really, really appreciate that. I think we all do. But my goodness sakes, what a crazy show. I cannot believe it. I think I'm starting to get a little freaked out. I might have to get the heck out of here. That's kind of strange. What? Is there footsteps? Is that a horse's hooves? Did we just see something like that earlier? Did somebody do a... Dragging foot? You know, I don't know what's going on around here, but I don't like it one bit. Where is everybody? Oh, are you kidding me?